Welcome to sections 4 and 5, Fire-Resistant Landscaping and Home Protection Strategies. As a general approach, homeowners should strive to keep landscapes lean, green, clean, and fire-wise. This does not mean your landscape has to look like a moonscape, however. There are approaches you can take and plant materials that you can select that can make your landscape fire resistant yet attractive and functional. When thinking about fire resistant landscaping around your home, concentrate your efforts in Zone 1, the first 30 feet or so. Often this is an irrigated area. This zone can provide significant protection to your home from wildfire if it is landscaped right. Activity in zones 2 and 3 is most likely fuel reduction activities, leaving just reduced amounts of native plants and trees. The goal is to literally starve an oncoming fire of fuel so that its intensity is diminished. The type and arrangement of landscape vegetation around your home is important when it comes to a wildfire. This home was involved in a wildfire in Bend, Oregon in 1996. The homeowner had done some thinning and limbing up of trees. In addition, they had some green lawn around the home. The main fire actually went around the home, yet this home was nearly lost. To the right of the driveway and above the vehicle there was a hedge of ornamental juniper shown in green. A firebrand ignited the hedge, and then the fire moved to the base of the pine trees and torched the trees, conveying flames up and charring the eaves of the roof. The only reason this home survived is because a fire crew was nearby to douse the flames. Here, the homeowner had done some good fuel reduction around their home, but they were unaware that the type and arrangement of their landscape vegetation could pose a threat to their home. This is a textbook example of fuel ladders. So let's talk a little bit about fire-resistant landscaping. Fire-resistant plants have leaves that are moist and supple. These are plants that have little dead wood or tend not to accumulate dry dead material within the plant. The sap is more or less water-like and does not have a strong odor, or doesn't contain any sap or resin in the twigs and leaves. And examples here include maples, oaks, and deciduous shrubs. In contrast, fire-prone plants tend to accumulate a lot of dry, dead material at the center of the plant. They usually have resinous sap and leaves or needles, and they ignite easily. Examples include ornamental juniper or native juniper, mugo pine, cedar, and cypresses. Here is a home with a nice juniper hedge. If you cut away the green surface, you can see that it is filled with dead material, which is fuel waiting to burn. Also, the dead foliage inside this juniper has a lot of flammable oils within it. This hedge could ignite from an ember landing into the dead material and burn towards the home, much like a fuse. To find out more about fire-resistant plants, you can download this publication from the OSU Extension Service. But there are also other publications that you can download depending on where you live. So here are just some of them along with their websites that you can download after you've listened to this section. There are a few other fire-resistant design features that you might consider. And so these include using non-flammable features such as rocks or pavers to break up the vegetation. and using rock features on slopes below your home. The top photo shows a very fire-resistant landscape which includes ornamental rock in the foreground. Be aware that landscape bark or mulch can burn or smolder. It will not produce large flames, but fire can spread through the bark, so keep it away from the home's foundation. The second photo on the lower left is an example where the homeowner cleared native vegetation away from his home on the downslope side. The native forest downslope and to the right has been thinned and the trees pruned up. The homeowner created a fire barrier in front of the home with a rock terrace. Fire-resistant plants can now be planted in the bare spot just above the rock terrace to create an attractive landscape in front of the home. Remember, the purpose behind landscaping with fire-resistant plants is to create an attractive landscape while at the same time not adding more fuel to a potential fire. Fire-resistant plants can be used to break up or replace ladder fuels so that fire is not conveyed to the home. Deciduous trees can block radiant heat directly to the home during a wildfire. Here, aspens have been planted in an opening in a forested home setting. They add variety in color and texture to the surrounding ponderosa pine forest, yet do not contribute significantly to the fuel laddering and are less likely to convey fire to the home, which is off the photo and to the right. The aspen will add color in the fall and contrast nicely with the green ponderosa pine foliage. Maintenance will be needed to maintain fire resistance. For example, notice the seedlings and saplings that have established in the foreground on the right in the photo. These should be removed to prevent them from towering over and crowding out the aspen. This will also prevent fuel ladders from developing. Let's look at an example of both fire-resistant and fire-prone plants in a wildfire. Here is a home where a wildfire moved across the slope below this house where the firefighters are walking. The green hedge in front of this house is Arctic willow, which is one of the fire-resistant plants listed in the publication PNW 590. This is another photo of where the fire burned below that home. The fire moved from the left to the right, but the heat was directed upslope towards the home. Notice that the hedge of Arctic willow is severely scorched. Here is a close-up of the hedge of Arctic willow. It took the brunt of the heat from below. It was a good thing the hedge was there. It absorbed a lot of convective and radiant heat without combusting. Just behind the hedge are mugo pines, which are very fire prone. It's quite possible if the fire had breached the willow hedge and spread into the mugo pine, the house may have sustained much more damage. It would be a good idea to remove the mugo pine away from the home. However, a fire-resistant landscape, like all landscapes, need to be maintained over time.